Mhm. All right. All right. Hello, everyone in the world that is watching this, copywriters, content writers, whoever just happened to stumble upon these fine gentlemen before you. So every week, as you know, if this is your first time, basically I talk with copywriters, but we don't really just talk about copy in this broad sense, or we don't look at like general headlines. We actually talk about copy that they wrote themselves, so we can kind of get some insight into their approach, maybe steal some of their sauce as to how they make such fantastic copy. So today, very excited, switching it up a little bit. The topic's going to be a little bit different, but I'm really excited getting a chance to talk with Colin Theriot. Am I saying it right? Theriot?
It's Theriot, but close enough. No one ever says it right.
Yeah, I can relate. My last name is Koenig, but I don't think my family barely knows how to say my last name.
Right. I get it. It's all good.
How's it going, man? How's life?
It's going good. I mean, as you know, why has something weird been happening in the world? Why do you ask?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. As good as could be expected, I guess. You know, I could complain, but there's other people got more to complain about, so I'll leave it to them.
Yeah, and it's been quite a while of this stuff. So now it's just I don't even know how to talk about it.
Yeah, everybody's gotten bored of it.
It's a weird reality. But anyway, so I'm really excited. So anyone watching this, you probably know Colin because he is I forget the whole title. It's like Reverend, what is it? Reverend?
Yeah, it's the Reverend Dr. Sir Colin D. Theriot Pontifex Maximus of the Cult of Copy.
Of the Cult of Copy, yeah. So that of the Cult of Copy, huge Facebook group, really, really awesome community. And I think it's kind of started the wave, to be honest, I think, of Facebook groups. But, you know, if you're watching this and if you're familiar with Colin's stuff, he just has kind of a grasp of copywriting that's very refreshing, and it's very kind of I don't know, it's just very, very Colin, I think. So really excited.
Well, thank you.
To chat. So today, like I said, most of the time we look at either like a sales page, or we look at an email, or we look at a website or something that our guest wrote. But today we're going to talk about what it's like and how Colin actually creates products, or he gets paid to make products as he creates them, right? So this is an idea that I think a lot of copywriters and whoever, marketers that are interested in like making info products, adding a new stream of revenue to their whatever copywriting ecosystem can benefit from. So this is kind of I don't know, we're going to talk about a product that Colin, I think, just wrapped up making, or is towards the end of making.
It's in progress.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to look at it and maybe get some secrets or insights to how you can do it for yourself. So, I guess the first interview. It's like, it's okay. So the first question. So like, how did you, like, what point in your copywriting-ness were you like, damn, let me actually figure out how to get paid while I make a product, rather than, the standard, make the product and then pitch it to people?
To back up a little before that, like, I never had ambition to be a copywriter for like a long time. It was just what I did at my day job. And when I quit that job, I knew it was like, basically I had been writing copy for some guru type dudes. They ran this company called StomperNet back in the day. Okay. And I basically wrote at least a draft of every piece of copy we published. So I knew that I could do the part that makes the money in the business, but what I didn't have was their reputation as being smart internet marketing dudes, right? No one knew who I was. I was just an employee. Their name was who went on all the copy and videos and things like that. So I knew I wanted to use copy as a way to build that reputation for myself so that I could segue into selling information products, which was my goal. So like, I didn't really want like a 30-year-long copywriting career. I wanted to very quickly go into using copywriting to sell my own information.
Yeah.
So with that said, I tried to go the traditional route where you like make a mega info product course and you sit down by yourself and you record like 8 hours of video talking to no one. Yeah. And then you figure out how to write a sales letter and sell it, because that's how I did it for my bosses. But it just didn't work for me. I don't have the patience to do that. It feels weird to not talk to anyone. Mm-hmm. So in progress of having a copy career, I started the Cult of Copy group just to talk to other copywriters. Like previous to that, we had a Skype group that were just like a bunch of dudes who sat around all day writing copy, and we would chit chat back and forth. I started spending more time on Facebook, so I just moved it as a Facebook group. That's all it was me and my friends and some clients just talking shop on Facebook. And then when I started to do trainings inside of the group, what I would do is basically just say, as part of my work, I have a sales letter template. If you want me to share it with you and teach you how to use it, here's where you can pay me. I'll do a webinar in 2 weeks. Mm. If it never really happened, but the idea was if not enough people bought it, I would just like refund 1 or 2 people and say, sorry, no one bought it. It wasn't worth me showing up to do it. But I looked at it from the point of view as like a consult. So at the time I charged $250 to talk to someone on the phone for an hour. If I sold a webinar for $100 and 3 people showed up, I'm in the black to show up and talk for an hour, right? My time is paid for. Right. So I looked at it from that point of view, where everything beyond just getting paid to talk for an hour was extra, and that was good. That was my sales. I didn't have like 10 grand of overhead and sales that I had to make back. And it turned out that method worked really, really well for the group. Basically, it was just like hardly any sales copy needed, because it was just, here's my professional tools. Mm-hmm. You're professional writing copy. If you want to learn how to use my tools, I'll share them with you. That's it. Like just professional to professional. It didn't have to be polished. It didn't have to be like all of my training videos I've ever done are on-screen webinars where I just show people a mind map, and I show them the mind map that I use. So it's not even like I didn't make a special version to put on video. I just literally share my own mind map that I use for myself. Over the course of several years, I did like 20, 25 different trainings that way. Eventually I got smart and stuck them in a membership site, and now they're all available on the membership site. All that to say, that was how I got the idea to do trainings where you pay me in advance before the training exists, and then I record it, and then I sell the recordings from that point onward to new people who weren't there to watch it live.
Right.
And then to bring it all the way back around to where we started, the one I'm doing now is different because I was originally going to do it as a single training, just like I did before. You pay me, I'll do a webinar in 2 weeks, and you come and watch the whole thing. Instead, what I did is the structure of this one, because it's the Cult of Copy, I use 13 things. I write articles like that a lot, 13 being like a spooky number. It's just a branding thing. So this training was going to be 13 tricks for leveling up your copywriting business. And what I decided to do is do each video separately as a Facebook Live inside the group as content. And each video I would sell you on the idea of buying all 13, which I'm collecting in a separate group. And after a couple of days or a week or whatever, I take the live video down. So it's like, you can watch it for free, 1 video at a time. If you like any of them, buy the whole set, and you can watch all 13 in this other little group.
Right.
So basically, as a lazy person who likes to not work, each piece of the training itself becomes a commercial promotion for the training. And then I tease each one and say, tomorrow we'll be recording the next episode, so tune in. So that gets to be an extra promotion. And then I've like encouraged people to tell me what they like about each episode as I do it. I take screenshots of those, and I've used those as testimonials in the promotion to get people to buy the whole set. And then yesterday, my friend Tim posted a testimonial all by himself, where he's basically like, you guys are idiots if you don't buy this. And he sold twice as many copies of it as I did off of his comment. But all that to say, like, I'm using all the pieces that we all know copywriting is supposed to have. I got a clever headline. That's the title of the course. It's, let's see if I can remember it. 13 sneaky plateau busting tricks to level up your copy or marketing business. And I know that's a mouthful. I did it on purpose just as a joke, but okay, so that's the headline, but it's the title of every video in the series. And I'm repeating it over and over every time I post about it. It's got video to sell it, which is me actually doing the content. It's got repetition, because I do each episode every couple of days. It's got a justifiable price point, because I say, if you like this one video, there are 13 in the series, and I'm only charging you $1 for each one. It's $13 for the whole series.
Right. Let's people see like the back end, so they feel like they're privy to kind of like this.
Yeah, the idea is, if you want to have long conversations about any of the stuff we talk about, you'll be in a dedicated group with other people who want to talk about that material. I've only been doing this a little while, like maybe a year or so, where I make like a little tiny separate Facebook group just to deliver the product. Which is funny, because I have like Kajabi, I have a membership platform. Like I said, I'm just lazy. It's easier to do it on Facebook. But it's working out like really well, because I'm getting paid to create it video by video. The more of them I do, the more sales I make. When it's going to be complete, I'm going to collect them all and put them inside my main membership site, which is $99 a month. So it's like I'm literally getting paid to do each piece of the content before the whole product even exists. And the more people buy it, the more excited I get to keep doing more episodes.
Yeah.
And then like from an upsell point of view, what I did is inside the paid group for the 13 videos, I put an offer in for a discount to do a consulting call with me. Because it's basically like I'm talking about copy and marketing businesses in general. But if you have some specific questions and you want to talk to me, you can book a call. And then probably what I'll do is, when the whole series is finished, I'll put in an offer for the main membership site and say it's like $50 off your first month, and then $99 a month after that. So it basically then becomes an upsell to everyone who bought it at $13 to get into the main membership site. And I don't know how it'll do, but it's basically, it's fun to just create content and get paid to do it piece by piece this way.
Right. Well, sorry for setting you up for like a 12-minute response like I just did. But that was pretty good. Anyone watching this, like, he basically just broke down how to get paid for a product while you make it.
And I'll probably make a training about how to sell trainings this way, and then sell that one too.
I mean, because I got one of your trainings where it's like how to, like, I think it was like how to make a cult group basically. And it's funny because now seeing this, it's like, that's, you just.
Once you have that guru positioning and you have your own audience, you learn how to do new things. You do it in front of that audience and it works because you have an audience that likes you. And then you turn around and teach them how to do what you just did in front of them. And that's been my job for like 6 years now, is basically like, let me think up a new thing. We'll try it out on you. If it works and you buy it, I'll teach you how to do it and people will buy it from you too. That's
pretty simple formula. Pretty simple formula. So you said you've done like 20 of these basically like live, I don't know, like live trainings. How do you, like, what is the approach as far as like coming up with the idea, the outline, like how it's going to come together? Do you just kind of, I mean, I'm sure at this point you've kind of figured out like a process, but how, for someone watching this that kind of likes that idea, but they aren't sure how to approach it, like what kind of advice can you give for that?
in general, like when I mentor people who want to do like switch into the guru mode and make info products based on their expertise, what I always recommend, it doesn't have to be your whole business, but the easiest way to think of it is turning your competition into customers. So for me, instead of trying to teach like business owners how to write copy for themselves, I decided I would teach other copywriters how to do what I do as a copywriter. So turn competitors into customers. And what that does is it takes the exact same information and it makes it worth way more to them. So like if I teach a business owner how to write a sales letter and he's only got one product, he's only going to use it one time. But if I teach a copywriter how to write a sales letter, he's going to use it every time he has a client, over and over again. So that same piece of information suddenly becomes much, much more valuable to him. So I can charge, instead of like $20 for an ebook, I can charge $100 for a course, or $100 a month for a bunch of courses and a membership site. So that's step one, to think about like who is willing to pay the most for your information. And then a secondary side effect is, if you're selling it to other like professionals that are busy, you don't need it to be like, you don't need to hire a graphic designer to make a logo for you, you know, because like a fellow professional just wants to get to the meat of it. They just want the valuable stuff. They can skip all the decoration. They don't care about that. So that saves you a step right there.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to doing the trainings, I just think about what problems did I have in my business that I tried to solve. So back when I was writing copy, it was like, well, my client needs a sales letter. I want a template so I can write sales letters fast. My client needs an email sequence. I want a template so I can write that fast. So my earliest products were basically my solutions to my own problems as a copywriter. So the idea being, if I have that problem, every other copywriter in the world has the same problem. I'm not offering the ultimate solution that you will ever need. I'm just saying, here's how I do it. Add it to your toolkit. You know, you could also buy your sales letter template or somebody else's. Why not have 5 in your toolkit? But here's another one. You want mine too.
Yeah.
And then from that point, breaking it down, like I said, at first I was just teaching literally my own templates and formulas. But now when I think of stuff to do, I try and like organize it in like a list of 7 things or a list of 13 things. Just an arbitrary number, so that I feel like that makes it easy to market to people when you're like, I'm going to teach you 5 things.
Yeah.
Right. So then the way I do it is I would pitch it and I would say, here's your problem. I'm going to teach you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and lay it out. And then if 3 people buy it, like I said, that's my target number. If 3 people buy it, then I take that list of 5 things and then I drop it into a brand new mind map. And then I develop the training based on the pitch so that I know I'm delivering exactly what I promised. I make sure I address all 5 of those points. Everybody's getting exactly what they bought. And then, like I said, like 1 or 2 times, and the entire time I've been doing this, has it been where it just flopped or for whatever reason. So I never made it past that list of 5 things. So I don't know what the training would have looked like. I just didn't bother doing it because not enough people bought it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's smart. I think a lot of copywriters, they like the idea of like, you know, some people say write the sales page before you even have the product. This is like that to like the next level, because then you're not even wasting time writing the sales page, because you just have to get those 3 customers. And if you have them, then you keep moving. If you don't, you just scrap it, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because like once I get those 3 customers, I look at it like I'm getting paid to talk to a client for an hour. It's just like someone had hired me to talk to them about their business on the phone. So then I develop an hour or so worth of content, and that's about all you need.
Yeah. And you mentioned something I think is really interesting and really hard for like copywriters and marketers to grasp, is that you might have a sales page template, but somebody might just buy like 5 other ones because they like buying sales page templates. So, because I think a lot of copywriters, like they like don't make the product because they're like, oh, it already exists. So many people have already made it, but those people aren't you, right? And I guess that's kind of like the whole point, right?
I think of it as like like books, right? Like fiction. I like to collect science fiction and fantasy novels. I bought one, I liked it. Say you buy Harry Potter and you like it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you done buying books, or are you gonna buy like some more books?
Yeah.
Right?
Are you
Like,
only gonna buy J.K. Rowling for the rest of your life?
right. Like not even that. Like if J.K. Rowling writes another book and you like that first one, you're gonna buy the next one. Like there's plenty of things like it, but copywriting in particular is a bottomless pit of interest.
Right.
So like out of many other things you can be interested in, you will never finish learning about copywriting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like by the time you finish this thing, someone will have put out another thing, and it'll be just as valid. And here's the thing: nothing new conceptually about copywriting has probably come out in like 100 years.
Right.
So like you read a 100-year-old book about copywriting, it's going to have the same basic stuff in it, just people talking using too many weird old words.
Mm-hmm.
So the way to contextualize it and make your information valuable. Information on the internet is free. If you want to dig enough, you can find out absolutely the answer to any question you can think of for free. But information is worthless because it's abundant. But if you take that information and you pass it through the filter of experience, then it becomes knowledge, and knowledge is unique and valuable. So let's just say you and I, we both read the same instructions on how to write a sales letter. I write one for a client using those instructions. You write one for a client using those instructions. What's going to happen is we're going to encounter different problems when we apply that plan to this client versus that client. And the solutions I come up with are going to be different than the ones you come up with. So by the time we're done, if each of us sat down and tried to say, okay, well, here's my version of how to write a sales letter, my version is going to be different than yours because it passed through a different set of problems and got a different set of solutions. And anyone who wants to know how to write a sales letter is going to want both, because they're like, the way Colin does it is different than the way Tyler does it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to, your experience transforms it into something that can't come from anywhere else because no one else is you.
Right. That's like the value of why you have this, this guru dumb or whatever, because you can't just now. It's just kind of like you're almost just like playing around and kind of just like playing with ideas, like putting things out because people
exactly. It becomes people want it because it's your take on it and not like they don't care that it's been done. You know what I mean? To go back to fiction again, like they already made a Star Wars movie, but no one's like, well, I'm tired of spaceships and laser swords. I'm done. I've seen all the ones I want. No, they'll make another one and it's going to make another $1 billion because people want to see more starships and more laser swords. They never get tired of it.
Yeah.
So it's about what is your unique take on it and how are you going to make it different? So for me, like I didn't invent info products. I didn't invent Facebook groups. But I think I kind of coined an original way to sell info products inside of a Facebook group just by doing it. And I think of it as like a performance of a sales letter, because like you use a sales letter and you're like, here's the before and here's the after. Well, if you've been in my group long enough, you've seen the before turn into the after in real time as I do it. Mm-hmm. So when I turn around and say, hey, do you want to learn the method that I just used to do this thing and sell you that thing that you just bought? People are like, I know it works. I just bought it. It must work. I just spent money on it. So he must know how to sell things. And it is true. So I don't know. That's why the logo for the Cult of Copy is the snake eating its own tail. Like I just keep making up new stuff and I do it. And if it works and people like it, I say, hey, do you want to pay me to learn how to do that thing I just did? And they say yes.
And my favorite part is that you actually just say that. Like what you just said is basically like what you write in your copy. I think it's so interesting about your group and kind of just the way you write, which is a perfect transition. Let me actually pull up this screen just so we can kind of like show people some of the stuff that you're doing. So
sure.
The question that, that kind of leads me to is so like I said at the beginning, anyone that has been in the cult of copy or like knows you, I think they could recognize like the way you speak, pretty much out of any copywriter. Um, so guys, this is what he was talking about, his 13 plateau busting tricks to level up your copy business. Assemble your referral network while trying to make it hard. So that is like, so yeah, that is basically like Colin copy. And it's so unique to you. How, like, so I think people see this and it's kind of intimidating. I'm not going to lie. Like they see this and like, damn, like, shit, Colin has so much personality. He's able to use all these references without looking like he even tries, like all these things. How, like, what is like, how do you, or how can I say this? Like, how did you kind of create this like comfortability in your voice and like kind of being able to translate that into copy like this, where people are like addicted to just reading, right?
I think part of it had to do with the fact that I didn't start my Facebook group as like a business venture. Like I knew it was gonna be, but the point of it was just for me to talk about copy with my friends. So I never had the like business persona to put on. It was always me from the beginning.
Okay.
So I didn't feel like I had to create an artificial person to do any of this stuff. Now, like that's not people. A lot of people think like, oh, well, I'm an introvert, I couldn't do that. Like I'm super dorky introvert that like I'm making references to Voltron and Megazords and stuff. I'm obviously a nerd, and I've kind of gotten over myself, like getting on video and getting on stage to do talks at conferences, even though like I used to get so nervous I would want to throw up before a conference when I had to talk. Fortunately, when you get up in front of people and start doing it, your brain only has so much like brain power to apply to things. And if you're just remembering what you have to say, you won't remember to be scared. At least that's how it works for me.
For sure.
But even to that point, like this, I wear glasses when I'm on video. You can see it there, and you saw them on me earlier. Like my prescription's so weak, I only really need it to drive, and I hardly ever wear them. But it's like a mask. That's like my superhero mask. I put that on.
Yep.
And it's me, but it's not me. So I can just be a little more confident. And then the thing with the beard, like I did a cruise where I spoke at a conference on a cruise and I forgot to bring my razor. And so by the time I came back, I had like a little bit of a beard and people commented on it. So I just didn't shave. And now it's been like, 7 years since I've shaved. And like, it's become a brand thing. People are like, oh, this guy's got a beard. And like, it's just a joke, but people reacted to it and my wife doesn't mind. So I kept it.
Right.
So the comfort level, I guess, to answer your question, it's about like, I always still think of it as just me clowning with my friends and talking about the stuff we like anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So with the given group of friends that I made in copywriting, we would just as likely be talking about work as talking about like comic books or new movies that came out or whatever. So I've just tried to continue that vibe with my own audience, and it's clicked. Like you said, it's sort of become a brand into itself, but I didn't sit there and make it up. It's just a thing that built up over the years that the group has existed, since like 2012. So like it goes back to that thing I was saying about the before and the after. I didn't all of a sudden one day come up with the character of the Reverend Dr. Sir Colin D. Theriot. First, I was Colin the copywriter, and then I made up a group called the Cult of Copy, and it sounded cool. And then as a joke, I was like, well, if I'm going to be a cult leader, I need to get like some fake titles off the internet. So like, I think it was like in 2013 and 14, I went online and I bought like a minister's license. I bought a phony doctorate from a fake university, and I bought a knighthood from some guy in Las Vegas who claims to be the heir to the throne of the Bohemian Empire.
No shit.
So like total scammy stuff, but they sent me certificates and I framed them and I hang them up in my office, and it's just a joke. But it's a joke my audience laughs at, and so now it's become part of my branding.
Yeah, and it gives people like a reason. It makes people kind of feel like they. I mean, they do know you. I mean, I think through these videos, they get this feeling like, oh, like that's just Colin being Colin, and they want that rather than like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
they're not saying like, I need a copywriting tip. Like, let me go check out the thing. They're like, ah, it's just Colin. And like the means of Colin is copywriting, and it comes out with all these products, right?
yeah, yeah. And part of that too is like when I explain copywriting the way that I see it, it goes back to what we talked about, like how your experience makes it into something new.
Right.
So if I want to teach you about copywriting and I say 13 things I learned about copywriting from playing Super Mario Brothers, or 13 things I learned about copywriting from being a dungeon master playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like those are real things, and I'm taking fun things that I like and explaining copywriting with it, but it gives people something to grasp onto. So if you also like comic books, or you also like Dungeons and Dragons, or like when I was on camera, you could see behind me, I have like a huge amount of records on a shelf back there. Like it looks cool. I think it looks cool, but the reason I have them is because I like those things. And I like to share them with people. So it just, I don't know, I feel like it makes me seem like a real person that people can get to know online.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to make it seem like this is a plan that I had to trick people into thinking that. Because even before I was into copywriting, I would be like, hey, friends, check out this record I bought today. Pretty cool, right? You know? So I was always like an online person kind of sharing things that I like. And copywriting is just one of those things. And it's probably the only profitable thing that I talk about that people will give me money for. But
yeah, well, I will say, man, sick jams for the people. I still listen to that playlist. I still got it.
Nice. I need to update that. That's I haven't touched it in a long time because I usually listen to my Discover Weekly, and that's good enough for me. But I need to get back into it.
Discover Weekly, yeah, man. Spotify, I don't know how they're crushing it so hard. Like everything they're putting out. Even like now they have like the daily wellness. I'm like, well, let me put this on, and I have like some serene meditation. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But all right, so basically, what you're saying is be yourself and get over yourself, and don't be afraid to share the shit that you actually like.
Yeah, what I tell people is be yourself, but the caveat is that's step 2. Step 1 is be awesome.
Okay.
And that's not to set a high bar. It's just like try and learn new interesting things that you like, and then share them with your audience and try to connect it to what your core topic is. But what happens is if you do that, first of all, your interests are going to be unique to you, or rather your combination of interests. Let's say, like, I'm far from the only person that likes comic books, but maybe I'm the only copywriter who talks about comic books and games and stuff the way that I do. So the combination is unique. But what happens is, like, when you are exploring what you think is awesome and finding things that you're enthusiastic about and you share it with your audience, that enthusiasm is contagious. So everybody that's sitting there on the other side of the screen searching through their phone because they're bored out of their mind, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that enthusiasm, and they want to find somebody who's into it. So it's like, you know, like because of this quarantine, a bunch of people got into like cooking, right? Like because you're stuck at home, so baking. Nobody's online looking at videos of baking where the person is like mad about it. Like, I hate baking bread, but I'm going to teach you how to do it. You know what I mean? Like the videos that they're into, people are like, oh my God, it was so delicious. I loved it. You know, I love learning how to do this. That's what they want to get into. So I guess to circle back to what we were talking about, the weird nerdy stuff that I add into copywriting is one of the ways I make it interesting to myself. And I trust that my enthusiasm is going to be infectious to my audience.
One last thing I want to talk about on this copy before I like take down the share screen. I think one of the things that you do really well, more so than like anyone that I've seen, is like just asking, like straight up, like telling people how to pay you, or like if you like this, give me money. What is like, is there like it's just like such a simple thing, but I think, you know, when people are making content and like putting all this work into putting all this content out there, they get like scared of asking people for money, or like they make it seem like it should just be totally a giving situation. What is like, I don't know, is there like anything you can say to that as far as like at like getting over yourself to like make people or like ask people for money and not feel like weird about it?
If you'll notice, like I almost do it in a tongue-in-cheek, joking way.
Right.
And that's part of the way I diffuse it from being embarrassing to me.
Mm.
So like one of the things very early on when I started doing my trainings is the joke was that I would charge $100 even, not $99, not $97, not 98.97, just 100. Like we all know, we're all copywriters. I'm not bullshitting you. You know what $100 is. I'm not going to psych you out by telling you it's 97.
Right.
So that just became like a joke about it, to where you just kind of have a sense of humor. Like, you know, you have to do it. And I try to make myself laugh in the way that I do it, and just try to be upfront about it. And I would say one of the tricks I've done is to over deliver, but I do that by under promising. So like I try to never oversell what I'm doing, but I always know that like I'm going to, you know, if I say, oh, I'm going to teach you like 3 things, and then I show up and I'm having fun and I'll talk for an hour.
Right.
You know, so like everybody feels like they're getting a ton more stuff. I just didn't oversell it. So that's one of my tricks, is kind of being understated and then just trying to make it fun, like ask for it in a funny way. Where like for this one, I just thought it was funny that like each video is $1. Give me $13 and you're paying $1 per video. I just thought that was like a funny way to do it.
Yeah, and it's just refreshing too, because even when you read stuff, like it's just like, you tell me how to get the whole set, maybe even a bonus or something. I don't know. I'm not a psychic, so it's just like that type of content. People read it, and it's just like it's just like this. You know, they have that shield where they're like, instead of like trying to be serious, and like then it just kind of becomes more of like you said, it's just like you're just trying to make yourself laugh, and they're like appreciating the looseness, and like, God damn it, we need that looseness in marketing in general. So
yeah, and again, like what I do would not be as interesting if there wasn't other stuff that other people do that gets boring. So I guess like one general piece of advice that I'd give to people writing any kind of copy is, what captures attention is what breaks the pattern. That's like from way back when we're like primitive proto cave type people living in the jungle or whatever. Like you're just sitting there looking at the forest and it's all green, and something breaks that pattern. What is it? Is it like, you know, another person in our species to go mate with? Is it delicious fruit to go eat? Is it a tiger that's going to attack us and eat us?
right.
That our brain is rigged to see a pattern, and then the pattern becomes boring, and then our brain is looking for what's going to break that pattern. That's what captures our attention. So whenever you're trying to get people's attention and make them smile and get a reaction from them, you got to think about who you're competing against for that attention, and how can you make it seem like everything else is boring and your thing is what breaks the pattern. And in the copywriting world, to give you an example, people will ask me like, what's the best email subject line to use? I have no idea, but what you want to think about is who you're trying to sell to and what their inbox looks like.
Right.
Are they getting a ton of marketing emails that are using weird characters and exclamation points and weird shit to get at them? If so, a 2-word subject line is going to break that pattern and stand out in their inbox and get more clicks. But if this is not a person signed up to a million marketing lists and they have a good spam filter and they only get emails from grandma and mom and the wife or whatever, they're used to only seeing 2 or 3 word subject lines. So the one that'll get their attention is the one with 5 exclamation points at the beginning. It just, what you want to think about is, what's the pattern? How can I make that pattern seem boring and make my thing stand out? So back to what I was saying about the $100 price tag and pointing out it's $100 even, not 99, not 97. You're a marketer too. I'm not going to use any of those tricks on you. All of a sudden now, every person who's selling to them that's doing $99 or 97, they're all in the same bucket, and I'm the only person not in that bucket with all those other guys.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I think so. Any copywriters or marketers watching this, in your research, like it's not about figuring out. I mean, I guess it is figuring out what has worked for people, but it's also just figuring out like how the hell you can be the exact opposite and be just totally different.
Yeah, it kind of ties into the idea of like everybody's heard of a USP, your
Yeah.
unique selling proposition, and I know a lot of copywriters rack their brains about that, trying to come up with like, how can I be unique?
Yeah.
And the real easy trick of it is, instead of figuring out how you're unique, figure out how everybody else is the same.
Yeah.
And that's where your difference is. If you figure out how everyone is doing the exact same thing and you figure out a way to be different, then you're different. Like fast food burger joints. Burger King is like, when they first came out, their whole thing is like, it's flame broiled.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that means, but they're the only ones who have it. So it's their unique thing. And why is it different? Because no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
Like, and what's funny about that is it could even be someone else is doing it, but you're the first one to claim it. So like a famous old timey example is what is it? American Spirits? No, it's Lucky Strike cigarettes. They say it's toasted because their tobacco is toasted. All smoking tobacco is toasted. It's literally how you dry it out, but they're the first one to say it's toasted. So everyone else, what are they going to say? Ours is toasted too. Too bad you missed that boat. Or like there's like the famous, I think it's either an Ogilvy or I can't remember whose campaign it was, but it was for like Schlitz beer, and the whole ad is about how they purify the water to make the beer.
Mm-hmm. That's how
like they all do that. What do you think, they're just using like water out of the sewer to make the beer? No, they all purify it, but because they did it, who else can say that we do that too? You know, no one cares if you're the Me Too. They care about the guy who makes it stand out.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like when talking to clients and stuff, like even like they're not going to be impressed when you say like, oh, I do lots of research. Like you got to figure out a way to like, obviously do the research, but if you can find a way just to like say, I don't know, like I take my audience out to dinner, I don't know, something weird, just to like show like you have this other aspect, and it's not even reinventing the wheel. Like it's not even like, you don't have to, being different doesn't mean you have to like come up with this entirely new approach to things. It's just like maybe pointing out something that no one else is pointing out, and it's really awesome.
Yeah. And when you have your unique little thing and you're confident in it, it makes people pay attention to you, because so many people are not confident. And they think, well, that guy must know a secret, because he looks like he's not scared the way I'm scared. And it's similar to the thing where like I recommend to people who want to do that guru pivot, you got to get on stage in front of people, even though it scares you. The reason it's so powerful is because it scares everyone.
Yeah, just,
you know, like public speaking is like the second biggest fear behind death if you survey anybody.
Right.
So just the fact that you can get up there, people are like, that guy's got it figured out, because I could never do that. So the same thing being like, you know, somebody's interviewing copywriters and there's a guy in a 3-piece business suit that looks sharp and clean shaven compared to me. And they're like, how does this guy charge as much as that guy? He must know something that guy in the suit doesn't know.
Right.
But then again, there are also people who are like, why would I hire that weird Sasquatch dude? I'm going to hire the dude who looks like he cares about business. So it just depends. You just want to give people a meaningful choice between you and anyone else. And because of the way the internet works, there are more than enough people out there to support you if you can put them all in the same place. So that's why something like Facebook is so valuable, because there's a billion people on Facebook. Like if you can't build an audience on a website that's got 1 billion users, you're just like, I don't even know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, so you look at like the Cult of Copy, it's got 30,000 members in it that I built up over 6 years. If I can figure out a way to give those people enough value so that each one of those 30,000 people will give me $1, That's like $30,000 a year. Just that, like not doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to come up with ways for most of them to give me at least $100 a year, or even $1,000 a year. If they're a mentoring student, $6,000 a year, and I'll take you on for a whole year and teach you everything that I know. But by having that audience and giving them reasons to spend that money with me, that's my whole business. Like you get an audience together that likes what you got, that likes it better than what anybody else is doing. And that's who you serve. That's your core audience.
And it's not even, and I think at a point, I would say you probably haven't actually like sold anything in years, because at this point they're just so excited to buy from you, where it's just like you put it out there, you say what you say, and then they just jump at whatever opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't even know if my copy is good.
Right.
Because like people will tell me that, well, how do you know your copy is even good? You only ever sell to your own cult. And I'm like, that's absolutely true. But I did build that cult on purpose.
Right.
So it's like, I do know what I'm doing. And what I know how to do is to build a scenario where copy matters less.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about what I say and how I say it. It's about my relationship with my audience. And maybe they're in my group complaining about a problem they have, and I already know the solution to it because I've been in this business for a while. Or if I don't know a solution, do I have a friend who knows a solution that I can have come do a guest training? Or can I spend a little time and figure out the solution to that problem and then turn around and say, hey guys, I've seen you guys talking about this. Here's something I came up with that you can pay me for, and I'll teach you how to do
it. Yeah. Well, damn. Let me see if we have any questions, because that was a lot of valuable stuff. Let me see. Yeah, that was good stuff. Let me see. Was the typo? Okay, so on your page, on that screenshot of the I think it was day 8,
Mm-hmm.
you have a typo where there's no. I don't think so. There's a typo where there's no space between A and bonus. Someone asked, was that on purpose?
I mean, like, if you like it, it was definitely on purpose. No, it's just a typo, but like, I don't really do a lot of editing. I was talking to somebody about like doing live video, and they're like, how do you listen to yourself to edit it? I can't stand doing that. I'm like, I've not listened to recording myself in like 7 or 8 years. Like I just, if I had to, for some reason, I would hire someone to do it for me. Yeah. I don't like to edit. I like to just put it out there. And if, for example, someone in the comments had been like, oh, there's a typo, I would make a joke about it. You know what I mean? Like that, it's just an opportunity to start a conversation, and I just let things happen that way.
Yeah. Your typos are on brand for you, man. So you got to keep Let's see what we got else. Someone said, can't wait for Tyler to pull a fast one and charge for these lives. I agree. It's going to be good.
What you do is you collect them all in one place, and then you charge people to organize it for them. That's a perfectly valid way to do it. I've done a thing where I teach this thing, the Viking Velociraptor, and I tell people in the sales message, it's available online for free. You can Google it, or you can pay me $13 and get a written version from me, or you can pay me $50 and you'll get a video of me basically reading the written version to you. And people will still buy the $50 one and then tell me, I had to buy it to see if you were telling the truth, and you were, and I'm perfectly happy with it. So yeah, like that is a valid way to add value. Just as a sidebar, is you can overpower people with so much information that it's like drinking from the fire hose, and then you can charge them to curate your own mess that you made, right, and make it easier for them to consume.
Yeah. Yeah, people will pay some money just to like see if you're full of shit or not. That's like that is a truth in life, I think. All right, man. Well, shit. That's all I got. If anyone is still watching, you have like 8 more seconds to put in a question or comment. If not, I'm sorry. That's it. But so you're in, what is this? Is this day 9 of your 13 plateau busting business tricks?
Yeah, it's 13 lessons. We just did 9. I think either tomorrow or Friday I'll do number 10. I've been doing 2 a week, so we're getting close to the end.
Sweet.
But basically I do them, I leave them up for a few days for free, and then I pull it down when I do a new one, and then they all go into the paid group. But anything that I'm doing, you want to find out about, like the Cult of Copy group on Facebook is the main place to be.
Yeah.
And then if you want to give me money for things, the announcement section has any of my current offers. And that's about it. I don't really do a whole lot else.
Yeah. It's just interesting because these are all, like you kind of said, it's all the things that copywriters know to put in their copy. But it's really just like human decision making, right? You're just taking that process and then like turning it into like almost like a business model in itself. So, I mean,
yeah, I continuously try to figure out how to do less and less work and get bigger and bigger results. And it's not always a deliberate process. It's just like, can I see if this works? So like my current purchase process, you give me money and then you tell me that you gave me money, and then I give you the product. So like it's not automated at all, and people are like, do you really do that? And I'm like, it's like a couple of hundred people. I don't mind. Like, it's not like I'm putting envelopes in the mail, you know what I mean? It's like a chat on my phone. I can do it at any time from anywhere that I want to. It's not that hard. And I feel like it would be more of a pain in the ass to set up an automated process, and I like meeting new people, so why not just do it that way?
Yeah.
So why make it complicated when you don't have to, is what I say.
Yeah, and then it just makes them have like a higher level of commitment too, because they feel, whatever.
Yeah, people. It's weird to me because I'm still just some dude, but people will be like, "Oh, I can't believe like you interacted with me. I buy things from people all the time," and like it's hard as hell to even get their support person, and you're like the actual. Or sometimes people will be like, "I just want to know for real if this is a bot or not." I'm like, "No, it's really me, not a bot. I'm just sitting on my couch watching TV while I'm interacting with you."
Yeah,
but
literally sending a message. It's not that serious, but it
yeah,
does make a huge difference for a lot of people. So
right.
All right. Anyone else? Last call. You get some lunch. Colin's tired. All right. I think that's all we got.
All right, man.
Anything else you want to leave the people with?
No, just like here's something that I think about often, and it's that like if you are smart enough to feel self-conscious and feel self-doubt, you need to know that there are people way stupider than you just making money hand over fist because they're too stupid to be scared of themselves.
Yeah.
So like as long as you're doing good work for people and you have good intentions, and if you screw up, you know that you will do what you need to do to make it right. Like it's impossible to mess up. You know what I mean? Like how can you do better than that, to where I'm going to do my best and I want to make sure you like it. And if you don't, I'm going to make it right. Like if you're out there trying to do that, like don't be scared of yourself. Like you're light years ahead of so many shittier providers that are already making money that you can make. And the person paying that shitty person will be happy to pay you because you're better than them. They just don't know about you yet because you're not promoting yourself. So get out there and do it. And then if you're scared about it, like just say, sit over there, fear, like just sit in the corner and watch me do it.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about it after I hit post.
Yeah.
Like you just got to do it. You just got to do it anyway. People are like, how do you get over your fear? And I'm like, I don't. I just post afraid all the time.
For real. No, and the thing you said about the glasses, like, have you heard of the alter ego effect? It's just like you just have like a totem or whatever, you put it on and now you don't have fear. It's like, it's literally like, it's just that, like, all right, I'm not scared.
Yeah, it's just a little stupid psychological magic trick, but it works. And it doesn't work all the time, but it works long enough for you to get out whatever you need to get out and be good with it.
Absolutely. There you go. All right, Colin. Well, I appreciate the time, man. This was very fun. Good chatting with you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Let me know if anyone has any follow-up questions or anything. I'm happy to drop some answers in. Thanks for listening to me run my mouth. I know I tend to ramble, but hopefully it was good. And you guys take it easy out there. Be kind to each other. Be good. Be safe. And we'll see you when we see you.
We'll see you when we see you. Peace.
Take care.